Have you ever felt like you're literally arguing with your AI just to get a straight, logical answer? Yeah, you are not alone. But what if the problem isn't the AI? What if it's how you're asking? We're going to dive into a completely new way to prompt for those heavy-duty tasks that need real reasoning, and trust me, it's an absolute game changer. So why do these incredibly smart AIs completely fail at simple logic? I mean, it drives developers and analysts absolutely crazy. You've got this powerhouse tool that can write a poem in the style of Shakespeare, but then it fails a logic puzzle that a 10-year-old would just breeze through. It's maddening. Okay, this right here illustrates the problem perfectly. On the left, you've got a classic ChatGPT fail. You ask it a simple question, which is bigger, 9.11 or 9.9, and it confidently gives you the wrong answer. Why? Because it's just matching patterns, not really thinking. But now, look at the right. With DeepSeek, we just tweak the prompt a little. We tell it to prove it step by step, and boom. Not only does it get it right, it shows its work. This highlights a massive fundamental difference in how these AIs actually think. So what is really going on under the hood? Well, it all comes down to what I call the conversational AI trap. Here's the core of it. We've all been trained to talk to AI like it's a person, right? That's because models like ChatGPT were built to be amazing conversationalists. But this new class of AI, a reasoning AI, well, it's not built for small talk. It is built for one thing: accuracy. Using a conversational prompt on a reasoning engine is like trying to use a hammer to turn a screw. It's just the wrong tool for the job. To really get this, we need to understand we are talking about two totally different kinds of AI brains here. This isn't just an upgrade. It's a completely different architecture from the ground up. For a long time, the whole game was about conversational fluency. ChatGPT was the undisputed king. But then, things started to change. A new player, DeepSeek R1, came on the scene with a totally different goal: logical accuracy above all else. And this is causing a massive shift, forcing developers and everyone else to rethink how we prompt our AIs. And this table just lays it all out. ChatGPT is trained with something called RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. Basically, it's rewarded for sounding pleasing and natural to us humans. Its main goal is conversational fluency. DeepSeek R1, completely different story. It uses a rigorous, rule-based approach. Its goal isn't to be your buddy. It's to be an accurate, auditable reasoning engine. And the performance difference, well, it's pretty stark. The MMLU benchmark is kind of like the SATs for AI models. And when you look at the scores, DeepSeek R1 has a clear lead. Now, that jump from 86.4% to 90.8% might not seem huge, but if you're doing anything that requires precision, like coding or financial analysis, that gap is the difference between something being mostly right and provably correct. It's a game changer. Okay, so we've established that DeepSeek R1 has more muscle for these kinds of tasks. But how do we actually use that power? The secret lies in a technique called chain of thought. It's all about forcing the AI to think things through, step by step. Think of chain of thought, or COT, like telling the AI, hey, show me your work. Instead of it just jumping to a conclusion, you're making it lay out its internal monologue. It breaks the problem down, checks each step, and builds a logical path to the right answer. The secret is to prompt it in a way that forces it to turn on that deep reasoning layer. And here's how you do it. It's a really simple 3-step recipe. First, you define everything up front. All the variables, all the rules, no room for confusion. Second, you don't ask, you command it to provide a step-by-step proof. And third, and this part is absolutely key, you tell it to give the final conclusion only after the proof is done. This stops it from taking any lazy mental shortcuts. All right, so that's the theory. Let's get to the fun part and see how these logic-forcing prompts solve some really common, really frustrating problems out in the real world. I mean, how many developers out there have felt this exact pain? You ask an AI to write some code and it just invents things. It hallucinates a function or an API endpoint, but doesn't even exist because it's just trying to fill in the blanks instead of being accurate. So here's the fix. It's the anti-hallucination coding prompt. And just look at how it's worded. You're telling DeepSeek, stop. Before you write a single line of code, you need to think. You're forcing it to create a plan, to predict what might go wrong, and to validate its own logic before it starts typing. And the output you get back is incredible. It's not just a block of code you have to spend an hour debugging. You get a full-on architectural plan, an analysis of edge cases, and then you get a block of code that's already been logically checked. The result?
Zero hallucinations. And hey, this isn't just for coding. Think about business strategy. Instead of asking for a generic SWOT analysis that's just filled with buzzwords, you command the AI to simulate a debate. The magic phrase here is using strict logical deduction, not narrative. You're telling it to be a cold, hard analyst, not a storyteller. And for anyone working in finance, this one is an absolute lifesaver. You can give it your financial data and use the numeric proof prompt, demanding a step-by-step mathematical derivation and telling it to strip away all conversational text. That ensures you get a clean, auditable proof that you can actually trust with zero fluff.
So let's bring it all home. The big takeaway here isn't to just ditch ChatGPT. It's about building a strategic AI toolkit and knowing exactly which tool to pull out for which job. And here's your cheat sheet. Use ChatGPT for all that great conversational stuff. User-facing chatbots, content creation, summarizing articles, fast brainstorming. It's amazing at that. But when you're validating code, doing financial modeling, auditing data, or any complex workflow where being right is non-negotiable, that's when you bring in a reasoning engine like DeepSeek R1. And that leaves us with one final, crucial question to ask yourself every single time you open up a prompt window. Are you prompting for a conversation, or are you prompting for correctness? Because knowing that difference is what separates a frustrating AI experience from a truly powerful one.